Most dysfunctional relationship of the year. I think this is obvious.
I mean, do I have to even say the words? The trash, the pure trash that is Kim and Kroy. Trash. I'm sorry.
It's
I have
terrible.
nothing like trash.
Well, at some point it's like people are upset for you because you broke up, but then the way they've behaved, no one cares anymore. No one cares. No one wishes the best for either one. No one blames one over the other because they both have just seemed so terrible about this whole thing. They're poor kids. Um, and we don't know anymore if things are for reality TV because they're so poor and they're trying to get a show, or if they really are just toxic, disgusting people. So I really think they're dysfunctional and they should not be watched. Like no one should care what they're doing. Wasn't she just on some show recently?
She just filmed The Surreal Life, which is not out yet, where the rumors were that she was going after Tom Hanks' son, Chet Hanks. Listen, I understand 911 has to come if you call 911, but like at what point do you care? Like they call 911 how many times have you called 911 in your life? Like I think maybe never for me, maybe by mistake once. I mean, they call 911 every other day. You can call 911 by mistake. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. But sometimes you're like, oh shit, how did I dial 911? Like you sit on your phone like a butt dial. You're like, oh my God. But yeah, they call 911. The children call 911. It's like I don't think I've ever seen a more dysfunctional couple in my life, possibly.
Right. Okay. Another couple I think should be up for the nomination would be Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. I mean, how many times is she going to emasculate this poor guy, and how many times is he going to take it? So I just, I'm done watching them as well.
I don't even understand them at all, really, what's going on now. I mean, we had the slap, and it was like, okay, you're sticking up for the love of your life, and they're together forever. And then all this comes out. She has to sell a book, and apparently it's all a sham, which people said for a minute. But I'm like, there's so many claims that she has that I just am so confused by everything coming out of Jada's mouth.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we're going to move on from them. All right. I like this one. Most inspiring person of 2023.
For me, another nom Bravo. I'm so proud of myself. For me, it is Shannon Doherty. Listen, I don't listen to podcasts. Hers is the only one I'm listening to. I mean, besides yours and mine, of course. She has a new podcast, Let's Be Clear with Shannon Doherty. Look, I mean, she has stage 4 breast cancer, which then spread to her brain, which is now in the bones. She went to so many fan conventions this year. Now, okay, if you're a Shannon Doherty and you go to these fan conventions, you do leave with a huge chunk of change in your pocket. But I really feel that she's doing that for the fans and getting paid a ton at the same time. But she's changing the face of cancer. She's really like, I'm not sick at the moment. I mean, just because I have this, I feel great today. I feel great yesterday. I feel great tomorrow. So she's living her life and working and just kind of, it's all authentic at this point. There's nothing for a soundbite or to get in the press. Mind you, her podcast is in the press every other hour on the hour because she's speaking the truth about so many things. Like, I mean, things that I guess I thought we all knew, like Alyssa Milano got her fired from Charmed. I thought we all knew that, but apparently not. It was a huge story this week. So, I mean, there's no soundbite. There's no like, let's get back at Alyssa. You're telling the truth because why not at this point?
Well, yeah, I think it's really a great way to have her final say, right? Her story come out, and she can do it in a way where she feels like people can listen, they cannot listen. She doesn't have to spend years writing a book, but she can just talk. I mean, does she have guests, or she's just kind of saying her thoughts on her podcast?
No, she has guests. Her second guest was Holly Marie Combs from Charmed, who then said, I will tell you that I was called in and they told me that Alyssa Milano was going to sue for a hostile work environment and said it's either her or me. And they were backed into a corner and they had to fire Shannon, which probably would never fly today in 2023, but well, soon to be 2024. But so, yeah, I mean, but I just think like the fact that she is, look, a lot of people with this type of diagnosis would sit home and just say, I'm counting my final days.
Yeah, it was great
years.
to die, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. And
so she's inspiring.
She's an absolute inspiration for people who think their life is over when they are diagnosed with cancer. She is forging on, telling her story, making sure that her words get out there, and living like you're living every day for today, which by the way, we all should, because we're all going to die at some point. Right. And
I say
we
that all the time.
yeah, but we don't know if we have 2 years, 5 years, just because we weren't diagnosed with something. It's a really good lesson in that you should live every day to its fullest. I know that's like very cliche, but it is true. We can't just assume we're going to live till we're 85, 90 years old.
I say that all the time. I
Yeah,
agree with you.
so I agree. All right, for me, my most inspiring person of the year is Maya Kowalski. I talk about this story all the time with you on my show, with everyone, but she is the girl that at 10 years old was taken to the hospital by her parents. She had been diagnosed with a disease that needed treatment with ketamine. And when they went to the hospital a year later, after she relapsed, the hospital did not believe her parents, called in Child Protective Services. They took over for 3 months. She wasn't allowed to see her mother, and her mother ultimately killed herself. And they have spent the last few years trying to get in front of a judge and a jury, trying to get a trial going to sue John Hopkins. And I think last month now she won. She won her case. Her story was heard. People finally believed her. She won $220 million. I think another $60 million in some sort of award. And she's suing again for something else unrelated, but for things that happened when she was in the hospital. So I'm going to be having her on as a guest in the new year with her lawyer. I'm just obsessed with that story. It's such a true story about somebody's experience and how they felt like they did not have a voice all these years and they were not believed. And I thought it was just so unbelievable. There's a Netflix documentary called Take Care of Maya. Everyone should see it. But it's so hard to watch because it's so upsetting, and it just sheds light to what happens in hospitals and how much power they have to make decisions that may or may not be good for you. So anyway,
I mean,
that was
that's what they thought, that like the mother was abusing her. That's what it was.
they thought the mother had Munchausen's by proxy and was claiming her daughter was sick to make herself look better. But honestly, David, you have to see this
That's
documentary.
sad.
It's so good, yeah, and
And then the mother killed herself. What? Because they wouldn't letting her see the child.
yeah, for 3 months they
Wow.
refused to let her see the child. And the day she killed herself, there was a try. There was they got in front of the judge, and the judge is like, no, I'm going to keep this going. And the lawyer said, well, can Miss Kowalski just give her daughter a hug? And the judge said no. And that evening, she went home and she hung herself in the garage. I mean, it's a
Oh,
terrible story.
that's
So
sad.
yeah, so I feel so happy. I mean, of course, it doesn't bring her mother back, but I'm so happy for the family, that for the father, for Maya, for her brother. They've been through so much, and they deserve the best. So that to me is the most inspiring person of the year.